blame the partner, right, whether they are a man or a woman. So I'm loath to do it. But the difference with Carrie is she was intimately involved in policy, right?
Well, worse than that, she actually determined who should be in the building and who shouldn't. I mean, the row between her and Dominic Cummings will, I think, by historians be seen as one of the great mistakes of Boris's reign, that he allowed her effectively to drive her out over the Allegra Stratton appointment, the spokesman woman. And she was a disastrous appointment idea. I think it's more than the point about Allegra. I've gone into the whole problem of Carrie. I mean, she really did turf Marina out of the marriage. She paraded herself with Boris when they were having an affair. And Marina put up with a hell of a lot, but just she was being so openly humiliated. And I think the problem with Carrie is she was a disaster at Conservative Central Office. They asked her to leave for all sorts of reasons. She's a very needy person. She's someone who doesn't bring stability. And I do think when historians come to look at why Boris failed, and he did fail because he came in 2019 with such promise and such hopes of so many people, I think that it will be the destruction of his family life and home life, where Carrie, for example, insisted that they had to have Wilfred in bed with them as a baby, that Boris had to change the nappies during the night, that this whole ridiculous way of life for a prime minister, which is totally inappropriate, Carrie imposed on him. And I think it was her megalomania, in effect, her lack of reason. I mean, the stories about the wallpaper, of course, is much worse. Wasting vast
more of that coming out tonight.
I mean, just extraordinary waste of money on one of the most expensive home designers in London. It was just madness by Carrie, spending money which she should have known that Boris didn't have. And this idea of the treehouse for 120,000 in Chequers. Her behaviour in Chequers was terrible. And I think the whole point is that Boris is a person, which I've now discovered more and more, in search of love. He is deprived, really. He was deprived as a child in many ways and deprived throughout his whole life as this loner, this man looking for relationships. So he clings on to women. I always think the way in which he clung on to Carrie's hand when he went in St. Paul's for the Jubilee celebrations and when he went in the other day in Kigali. It's a man who really is alone and he needed someone who is stable. And the problem with Carrie is she's not stable. She is very much, it's all about her. And I think this has been the problem. And I must tell you, I was listening to you just now, Dan, about why he doesn't leave Downing Street earlier.
What do you think he should do?
Well, I think, of course, he should leave very quickly. But the problem is he hasn't got a home to go to. It was the same problem with it was the same when he was foreign minister. He hung around in Carlton Gardens for 3 weeks when he should have left after 3 hours. And I think this story about he wants Chequers for a party is exactly the reason. And, you know, he hasn't got a car even, he has nothing. And he hasn't got a woman who says, I will organise the domestic life.
He can make a lot of money now.
He'll make a fortune. He'll write. Now, the point about his memoirs is they could be unbelievable if he's honest. If he says, why did it go wrong? Or the row with Cummings, or the row with the other people. It could be sensational.
What was interesting tonight